So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 16, Text 15, Translation. The four Brahmana sages were nevertheless extremely delighted to behold him, and they experienced a thrill throughout their bodies. They then spoke as follows to the Lord, who had revealed the multi-glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through his internal potency, Yogamaya. Purport. The sages were almost too puzzled to speak before the Supreme Personality of Godhead for the first time, and the hairs of their bodies stood erect due to their extreme joy. The highest opulence in the material world is called Parameshtya, the opulence of Brahma. But that material opulence of Brahma, who lives on the topmost planet within this material world, cannot compare to the opulence of the Supreme Lord, because the transcendental opulence in the spiritual world is caused by Yogamaya, whereas the opulence in the material world is caused by Mahamaya. Te yoga maya yarabda parameshtya mahodayam prochu pranjalayo vipraha prahrishta kshubita tvachaha. The four Brahmana sages were nevertheless extremely delighted to behold him, and they experienced a thrill throughout their bodies. They then spoke as follows to the Lord, who had revealed the multi-glories of the Supreme Personality through his internal potency, Yogamaya. So can you think of another instance in the Bhagavatam where someone is meeting the Lord and having an amazing experience? Dhruva Maharaj, yes. So can you say something how he experienced this? What happened with him?
Well, he was overwhelmed and he saw the Lord's transcendental body, and he couldn't speak and he couldn't offer prayers. He was choked.
So the same thing here. Also, they, for a moment, they couldn't speak, were choked. And any other metaphors from that pastime? If you remember, yeah.
He desired to have a kingdom as great as his grandfather Brahma, and when he saw Vishnu, he realized he was looking for broken glass, and that found the jewel.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent. He forgot about his material things, material desires. I don't know if you remember, but it is said that he was drinking the Lord with his eyes. He was so attracted that he couldn't take off his eyes and forgot about everything. So we are attracted very much to material energy. So we can hope to have that attraction. We can pray to Dhruva Maharaj and to Kumaras to have the same attraction that they had when the Lord reveals himself to us, when we will be able to see him. So there is examples in the Shastra where devotees meet the Lord face to face. Sometimes they meet him for a short time, like Narada Muni in the first canto. He met him and then the Lord disappeared very quickly. So his desire increased to see him again. And of course, gopis are always in separation of the Lord. Sometimes they are with him, but they also desire his association. Lord Chaitanya was in separation a lot from the Lord, and he desired to see the Lord. So when you love someone, you like to see them, if possible, all the time. But it is said that the love in separation is higher than the love in a meeting, in an association. Because the desire is more intense and this yearning, and it's also painful, but the pain of separation on the spiritual platform has a nature of transcendental bliss. It's not the same as the pain in the material world. due to separation from another conditioned soul. So one day we will suffer this kind of separation. This is our goal, to suffer in pain of separation. And in this way increase our love for Krishna. Actually, a devotee doesn't care about suffering, he doesn't care about pain, because his only goal is to please the Lord, to serve the Lord, and to love the Lord. Now, I want to recommend to you 2 parts of Chaitanya Charitamrita. There is one devotee here, he comes every Sunday, his name is Hare Krishna Prabhu. He is really, really obsessed with Chaitanya Charitamrita. He's reading a lot, and especially chapter 4 of the Adi Lila. And this chapter 4 explains the confidential reasons for the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. And also there is chapter 20 of Antya Lila, which describes the mood of Srimati Radharani. And this also, chapter 4 of Adi Lila, describes the mood of Srimati Radharani and the gopis, which is the mood of unconditional love. So we are trying to learn in this Krishna consciousness movement from Krishna and devotees, his pure devotees, how to love unconditionally. Unconditional love means loving and giving without expecting anything in return. So that's very hard to do. It's very hard. When we love someone and express it, we expect them to reciprocate. Of course, Krishna reciprocates, but in the 8th verse of Shikshashtaka, we see what is the highest goal of Krishna consciousness is this unbreakable love, unbreakable, unconditional love, where we will never give up loving Krishna and loving devotees. So, Lord Chaitanya says, you can trample on me, you can handle me roughly, you can not appear before me, but you will always remain my Lord. And this verse is explained in the 20th chapter of Antya Lila, where Lord Chaitanya is speaking in the mood of Srimati Radharani, and he is explaining her attitude that she says, I don't care about my happiness. I only desire the happiness of Krishna. And if my suffering is his happiness, let me suffer. But if my happiness is not bringing him joy, I don't want to be happy. So this is the highest attitude, this is the highest level of love of Krishna, and we aspire to achieve this. And we can practice in this world also, being unconditional towards other people and other conditioned souls, and be detached whether they reciprocate or not. Some will reciprocate, some will not. Some will be grateful for our service and love, some will not. But we don't care. It sounds very harsh. It's not that we don't care, but we are not attached. We are not attached that people reciprocate. So why people wouldn't reciprocate? Why? Because they are conditioned, they are maybe selfish, or they are absorbed in something else, or maybe they are in love with somebody else, so they are not interested in us. But we are not serving them and loving them only because of them. We are serving them and loving them because we want to please Krishna, because Krishna also loves them, and he is their father. They are his children, and they are also our brothers and sisters, so we show our affection and love, and we don't expect too much, sometimes nothing, because they cannot give, so why should we expect and be disappointed? So here Kumaras were stunned at the moment they saw the Lord, they forgot about everything, they couldn't speak for some time, and then they are starting to speak, I think, let's see, yes, Risha Euchuhu. In the next verse, they start to speak, and of course when devotees start to speak, like when Dhruva Maharaj started to speak, then you hear so much nectar and so much glorification of the Lord. Another point mentioned here is that glorification of the Lord is under Yoga Maya. So when you preach, you can be sure that you are under Yoga Maya. Another great goal that people have in this material world that is mentioned here, Parameshtya. Parameshtya is the opulence of Lord Brahma. He has the greatest opulence of anybody in the material world. So this is a great goal of materialistic people. They want to have big wealth. And on this planet we have American dream, which means make a lot of money. Even if you are a spiritual person, make a lot of money. Then you can, go to the Buddhist temple, or you can fly to Jerusalem, or you can have a lot of spiritual opportunities if you have money. But the main point is to make money. When you have a lot of money, you feel very safe. But money is Lakshmi, Chanchala, goes from hand to hand. Sometimes it's in your hands, sometimes it's in somebody else's hand. So therefore it is recommended that money should be spent for Krishna service and not just accumulated. So spend money for Krishna service as soon as possible. There are some instructions in the scriptures that test our faith in Krishna. Like, okay, if I spend money on a devotee or spend money on service, how will I survive? Also, there is instructions to save some money for emergencies, but a lot you can invest in service, invest in devotees. So we want to invest in devotees to help them succeed. What do we want to invest in devotees? We want to invest money, we want to invest attention, we want to invest affection, we want to invest encouragement, support, and if we have knowledge or wisdom to share, many things we can invest. So the more you invest in others, the more you become developed. The more you give, the more you get, so you can give even more. Now, opulence is mentioned here, and this is very important for a happy life, to have abundance mentality, to be aware of Lord's opulence. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that everything you see is just a fraction of my opulence. Even the opulence of Lord Brahma is nothing. There is so many Brahmas in so many universes, and many Brahmas have much more opulence than our Brahma. This is a small planet. Earth is a small planet. But this looks huge for human beings and for demigods also, what Brahma has. So we know that this is just a little fraction of the opulence of the Lord. Actually, opulence of the Lord is unlimited. And therefore, a devotee has abundance mentality. Have you ever been stuck in scarcity mentality? This is lacking, that is lacking, I don't have money, there is no love, there is no support, there is no care, there is no resources. But actually this is a myth. It's not true that there is no resources in any area of life, There is so much abundance of everything everywhere, but the problem is we don't see it. The problem is we don't see it. Because our mind is stuck in the paradigm of scarcity that always something is lacking. So you can ask yourself, what is lacking in my life right now? Somebody who is Krishna conscious, he will say, what is lacking in my life is Krishna consciousness. That's the main thing. But others may say, oh, money is lacking. If I would have money, maybe I wouldn't even live in the temple. I would buy a house and have my own altar and my own program. Or I don't have friends. Nobody loves me. Devotees say these things. Now, sometimes devotees come to me for a session and they say, this is lacking, this is lacking, this is lacking, this is lacking. Then I say, okay, please write down everything you have in your life. And then they start to write. We look into different areas, like for example, material resources. What do you have? I have a roof over my head. I have a room actually. I didn't have a room. Well, I shared it with my brother. So they have a room. Many people don't have a room. There is many families on this planet who live in one room. Not that two persons live in one room. Then, what do we have? I have some material facilities. They look into different facilities, but nobody loves me. Okay, then I ask them, who loves you? But it's a stupid question. I just told you nobody loves me and you're asking me who loves me. Because I know that somebody loves you. So tell me who loves you. Okay, my mother loves me anyway, but it's not so important. Everybody has a mother. It's not true that everybody has a mother. It's not true that everybody's mother is a very loving person. So yes, my mother loves me. Who else loves you? Well, my sister loves me a little bit, not too much. Sometimes we fight, or my brother. And in the past, one girl loved me, but she left me. And I know that there is another girl who loves me, but I don't like her. Okay, so there is 3 people that love you, and you don't appreciate this. My God, maybe you should be grateful for this. And then maybe there is more people, if they think about it, who actually care about them, who love them, but they have forgotten about it and they're not grateful. So if you're not grateful for what you have, why God will give you more? Why? If we are not grateful for what we have, we will lose even that. And especially if we misuse what we have. So what you misuse, you will lose. If we misuse this body for sinful sense gratification, we will get sick, we will die. If we misuse our mind to criticize others, to find faults, we will become mad after some time and leave the moment and become God, Ishvara Bhava. So, better not misuse what we have, be grateful for what we have, and do what you can with what you have right where you are right now. Do what you can with what you have right where you are right now. People who are intelligent can use what they have to create something else, to create something more. Have you heard how the sitar has created? No? So one man was walking down the road and he came upon a pumpkin, but empty pumpkin. You know what is pumpkin? Then he took the pumpkin. He didn't know exactly how he will use it, but he thought maybe I will need it in the future. He put it in his bag. Then he came across a stick, and he said, "Oh, this is a nice stick. Maybe I will need it in the future." So he took it. Then he continued walking and came across a wire, and he was thinking, "Oh, wire. Maybe I will need a wire for something in the future." So he put it in his bag. And then when he took a break from his walking, he was looking at the pumpkin, looking at the stick, and looking at the wire, and then he put the wire on the stick and stuck the stick in the pumpkin and created an instrument. Bam! And this was the first creation of the father of sitar, grandfather of sitar, or tampura. In my room, Krishna Premarupa Prabhu has a tampura. I didn't try it yet. So you have three things that are more or less useless, but when you connect them, you get an instrument. So similarly, intelligent people can see things that sit around and look seemingly useless, but actually they see how they can connect them and create something nice. So if you look at what you have and combine things, then you can definitely create wonderful things, and you can create opulence, and you can be very happy. One of what is lacking in our life, I have seen over the past 35 years, that what is lacking in devotees' lives is that they don't use their intelligence enough. We don't use our intelligence enough. God has given us some intelligence, but we don't use it, and slowly we lose it. We become not very intelligent because we don't use it. If you don't use it, it diminishes. If we use our intelligence creatively, it grows. Thinking, how can I use this? How can I do this better for Krishna? How can I serve devotees? How can we manage the temple more effectively and more efficiently? How can I manage my time? How can I have time for rest or for self-renewal or for reading? Ask ourselves questions that will help us to stimulate our intelligence and to find solutions for our life, for our problems and for other people's problems. So therefore, using our intelligence is something that we need to increase. And sometimes you may hear that people tell you, don't speculate. So don't speculate doesn't mean become a zombie and follow blindly. It means something else. But we want to encourage the use of intelligence, and we see how intelligent devotees are in the scriptures and how they think. And so one way that you can improve your intelligence is by thinking on paper or on the screen, on file, by writing. It is recommended by many, many experts, and people have amazing results by writing down their thoughts, by writing down their ideas. Think on paper, think by writing, and then you will see your thoughts there, and then you can evaluate your ideas, evaluate what you have written, try to understand yourself, understand how you think, and improve your thinking, improve your ideas, improve your intelligence. You can even do this with your feelings. You can write down how you feel and then look at this as an objective observer as much as you can. And also the hardest thing is to write down your desires and then look at them. It's the most difficult thing to do, to face your desires. So have you asked yourself lately, what are my material desires? And how I'm going to deal with them in a Krishna conscious way? This is a bold question. You may say, what can I do? What can I do? People come, say, what can I do? I have desires. And I say, well, it's not original. It's not anything new. Everybody has the same desires as you have. So why don't you become original and choose different desires? Like some spiritual desires, like something that nobody desires, like pleasing God, something like that, or pleasing devotees, serving devotees. So we cannot stop desires. This is the symptom of the soul, but we can change the quality of our desires. So if you ask me, how can I deal with my desires, my material desires? My answer is very simple. You can choose different desires if you're convinced that they will be better for you. You can choose different desires. Huh? Isn't that right? You can choose different desires. But why don't we choose different desires? The reason is because we are not convinced that they will make us happy. These other desires. If I please Krishna, how this will make happy in comparison to having a house, having a wife, having a husband, having fame, having followers. You know, it's cool to have followers. It's cool to have a house. It's cool to have a car. If you have a driving license, which I don't have. Some people think it's cool to have a bicycle. I think that. and then be careful, don't be hit by a car. I was hit by a car in London because I was driving in a one-way street. Then I had to pay him for many months to repair his car. I went to the court also, and they fined me only £50 because I was humble. I didn't complain, I didn't attack them. They said, because you are quiet, we fine you only £50. Otherwise, because it's a big offense, one-way street. So we have devotees who understand, they listen to this high philosophy, they say, yeah, that's really cool, to be a pure devotee, but where I am from this, I'm far from this. I still think it's really cool to have a Ferrari. And then there is this book, Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. So he had a Ferrari, he sold it, and for him it's not significant. And also sometimes people will come to you and say, I don't know what I want. So what to tell them? Okay, you tell me. What to tell people who tell you, I don't know what I want, what shall I do? You tell me.
That's the problem.
Huh?
That's the problem.
That's the problem? Yeah?
Think what you would like. Things like
But I don't know what I would like.
Like think about something and see if you might like it or not.
Okay, that's not so bad. Think about anything and then see, or try anything and then see if you like it or not. Yes?
I'll tell him to read Prabhupada's books and then he'll have better understanding of what's going on.
So, I will repeat it because I'm recording. Maybe it's not recorded. Very nice point. I would tell him, Rishabh Prabhu said, I would tell him to read Prabhupada's books and then he will, what?
He will have a better idea what he wants.
He will have a better idea what he wants, because in Prabhupada's books
There's a solution for all desires.
there is solutions for all desires. There is ideas. You can go to heavenly planets. What is described in the Bhagavatam, you don't even hear on this planet what kind of enjoyment. So you get even more fired up to enjoy materially by reading Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
But don't do that. Yes?
I was asking if you don't want to eat, and he would say, yes, I want to eat. So there is something what you want.
Yes. Okay, basic things like this. That's good. What do you like to eat? Do you know what you don't like to eat? I don't like eggplant. Okay, I will tell you what I tell them. if you want to hear.
Oh,
You want to hear?
oh yeah.
Well, are you ready to pay me? How much? one rasagula. I tell them, you can choose what you desire. I don't know what I want. Well, you can choose something. Similarly, that Akarshani Radhika Mataji, something similar to this. Like you can choose what you want. There is options and then you choose. I don't want anything. Oh, that's nice. You're like Dalai Lama. He got this big box for his birthday, and inside he opened it and he said, "This is what I always wanted." There was nothing inside. So if you want nothing, then you join the Nepal temple. So now I like this idea that look at read the books and you will get so many ideas and desires. There is so many things mentioned in the Shastra. But here we have Kumaras who wanted to see the Lord, or I don't know if they wanted, but they got this opportunity. They were really shocked and really delighted to see the Lord. And so imagine if we would be delighted every day when we wake up. Imagine you wake up and you see your bead bag and you are delighted. And you say, "My God, I'm going to hug my bead bag for 2 hours or 2.5 hours today, and I'm going to really, really enjoy this. And I hope the Lord will also enjoy my attentive chanting." So, or you come and you see Shishigonitai and Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, and you are so delighted. And every day they have different outfits. And then you see breakfast.
This is the reason.
Every day is different. Every day so many preparations. I remember during the war in Serbia, we had bread and soup every day for many months. And here, bread and soup is 1/10 of our meal here. So how can we be delighted every day in our devotional life? We can be delighted by remembering devotees like Dhruva Maharaja and the four Kumaras being delighted at seeing the Lord. We can be delighted by seeing this picture where Krishna is hugging Gopkumar. And we can think, when will I be there? Have you ever thought that maybe one day you will be there in Krishna's embrace? How many of you thought that? Wow, amazing. That's almost everybody. So look at this picture. You can see cows there. How many of you would like to be the cow in the back? Huh?
I would like to be a dog.
Dog?
Yes.
Is there dogs there also?
There's no dog.
Or maybe cowherd boy? Other cowherd boy? Who would like to be a gopi? Any Prabhus? So nobody wants to be a cow because we think that the cow in the spiritual world is
Bored.
it's not. Who would like to be a blade of grass?
It's boring.
Okay. Who would like to be a puri eaten by Krishna? Rasagula eaten by Krishna? Manohara Ladu eaten by Krishna? Good. So once Radharani prepared Manohara Ladu and she hid behind the bushes to see how Krishna will react when he receives it. And Madhu Mangala was with Krishna. And so they started taking the sweets. And when Krishna took it, he made such a sour face. And then Madhu Mangala, he was thinking, why is he making sour face? Radharani is the best cook. Today she was cooking. She made this. And he wanted to try and see for himself what is the taste of this Manohara Ladu. And he tasted it and he was overwhelmed with bliss, ecstasy. This was the best Manohara Ladu that he ever tasted in the whole eternity.
No.
And he was wondering why Krishna made a sour face. And then, I'm not sure if Krishna told him or he somehow realized what happened, is that Krishna knew that Radharani is watching him and he wanted to disturb her. That this is not good, this is bad, but actually it was the best of 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 the best sweets. So, would you like to be provoked by Krishna? Would you like to be teased by Krishna? Would you like to be challenged by Krishna? How many of you would like to be challenged by Krishna? How many of you would see if devotees challenge you that this is Krishna's challenge? Okay, there are some warriors here. So we would like to be challenged by Krishna, but when Krishna sends challenge to somebody else, we want to fight with him or beat him up or something. So we have to recognize, to see Krishna in everyday's dealings, to see Krishna on the altar, to see Krishna at the temple, to see Krishna in devotees, in the hearts of devotees, and especially to see Krishna's messages coming through others. And that's very difficult to do, because we think they hate us, that's why they criticize us. So let us remember Kumaras, let us remember Dhruva Maharaj. You won't believe it, it's only 8:31, and maybe it looks like it's already like a century that I'm giving class, and you're wondering when will be Prasadam. So I will stop here, and do you have any questions or comments? A few minutes and we finish. Yes?
About this money things and saving money mentality. Someone want to, even today's day we can see that even as a brahmachari we have some savings as a money because secure. And what do you think, this is surrendering with intelligence? Maybe we think we should have some money because we should use our intelligence, or we can say actually these things are not necessary because Krishna can do things which is beyond our intelligence. So, how to act, surrendering fully and not saving money because Krishna can do everything?
No, saving is recommended. Saving is recommended. Rupa Goswami says, give half to devotees, go to the temple, then 25% for your relatives, and 25% for your emergencies. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes?
This is when you already have savings, but he's talking about saving money to have saving.
But how can you save if you are not earning now?
I don't know.
If Naina gives you pocket money?
This is very what I earn, then I give him 25%. Then he
Yeah, maybe like this.
Oh, from the Grihastas.
Yeah, from my mother, or I don't know.
Tell them, maybe they will like it. This idea, tell them, I'm supposed to get 25% from you. and then I will say, yeah.
Referring to his question, Bhakti Prakash Swami wrote in his book that brahmachari should not have any bank account. And I think if one is convinced that he can be brahmachari for life, right, maybe to some extent makes sense. But I also heard a lot of complaints that devotees, they used to give their young years here in the temple, and when they realized they want to get married, they were left with nothing on the street. So I think to myself, how can one say, if you have nothing at all, that is complete surrender, but how do you know if Krishna is giving you the intelligence to save, or it's not just your attachments, that you're just not surrendering? Do you know what I mean?
Well, depends what you're planning, why you're saving. If you're saving for your future responsible Grihastha life, that's fine. But if you're saving to go to Hawaii, or to buy a car that you are attached to, and then, be really cool Vaishnava with first class silk dhoti and sunglasses, police sunglasses, then you, depends what you are saving for. But did Maharaj said anything about sannyasi's bank accounts?
No.
No, it's the brahmachari and Krishna consciousness.
Only brahmachari.
That's the book about it.
Well, my question is should sannyasis have bank account? Also.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
They should have?
Yes.
Why? You said sannyasi should have a bank account. Why? Where this is stated in the scriptures?
You have to come around in this world.
Also brahmachari has to come around.
They need also a bank account. You have to organize
Brahmachari.
their own life.
Yes, I agree. But if you say only brahmacharis,
responsibility for their own life.
yeah, it's true.
Very big claim to say, no bank account, everybody will do for me. No, we know in the past it's not working.
Yeah.
Many devotees question this way.
So, it's a hot topic.
Sannyasi shouldn't have bank accounts according to scripture.
Where it's stated.
Sannyasi should be completely free from any material attachment. She didn't go to the dentist. She didn't go to so many stipulations there. To a sannyas. Then sannyas in the preaching movement. So the preaching is more important than their ashram. So that's maybe something to look at.
Can sannyasis have disciples who have big bank accounts?
Of course.
Of course. So at least he doesn't have a bank account.
Yeah, the GBC resolution is that sannyasis are allowed one bank account. So they don't have a stipulation on how much are allowed in one bank account. Because many sannyasis have safes in their room with lots of Lakshmi. But one devotee was asked, taken to task in a meeting just recently, and they asked him, Maharaj, how many bank accounts do you have? And he said, one. Because one of the principles in devotional service is to tell the truth. I'm familiar with the principle. So there's a sannyasi and a guru. He said, so how many do you have? He said, just one. And there was many devotees around, leading devotees. And the devotee that was asking the question said, oh, Maharaj, you have 17.
Oh.
And Maharaj said, maybe...
So two.
So there's a definite encouragement for sannyasis to be completely detached and renounced. That's the principle. And the detail in the preaching movement is in this particular institution presently, which can change because the rules change. The present stipulation is one bank account, but but you can have unlimited funds in that one bank account. So it doesn't really mean anything, but there's an idea that they should be detached.
So when we speak about money, nobody sleeps. Yes? Yes, probably. No? Okay. One thing that if you're Suri,
Yeah.
Surendra. So you want to surrender, and that's nice. But if you want to responsibly plan your future, then there should be a plan where you can earn something, where you can save something, where you can afford to have your place. And people want to get married, they don't have anything. You have to have something before you get married. Materially, you have to have a place. You don't have to have a car, but at least you have a place and some income and a steady job or something. So responsible planning of the future requires saving, and saving some luxury. Because how will you will be always in anxiety with your wife. You will get married to a wonderful devotee wife, and then you are both in anxiety because of money, and you cannot think of service, you cannot think of Krishna, you're just thinking how to survive. So therefore authorities, this is old preaching, just surrender and Krishna will take care of everything, and then the authority runs away with money. This happens. And he is okay. Or there was one example where devotees collected so much money and their leader bought an amazing car from that money. And then they stopped collecting, many of them left. Amazing means super expensive car. Yes?
I was just thinking the present scenario within contemporary ISKCON world is we have 90% of our devotees have left, and 90% of them struggle to maintain their house and mortgage and credit and children. So that's the reality of the situation presently. So how to help devotees that are in the movement now so they can plan for their future, and we can make some facility for them so they can engage their time and energy not in maintaining their mortgage, but in doing some devotional service. So to swing the balance from having to spend all your time and energy just to maintain your griha into some time and energy you can use to engage in some service. That's a big challenge.
So this is where you can help. You have a lot of experience with that. With collecting money.
Oh, money. I mean, that's the principle I won, for instance, in 1978, one of the devotees there, a legal advisor, he's actually a lecturer at university, legal lecturer, he's a solicitor. So he came up with a proposal, this is one idea, that the brahmacharis, because 90% of brahmacharis get married, so they should have 10% of their collection, because most of the devotees originally used to go out and distribute books and make collections to the temple. So 10% of their collection they should put in a bank account, their own personal bank account, even run by the temple or a personal one themselves. So in 10 years, they have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, depending on what you collect, money available. So when they do enter the Grihastha ashram, which is 90%, then they can take all that money and put it as a down payment on the house, or start a business, and then be engaged in the temple activities. And of course, emotionally for them, then they feel that the temple has provided for them, not just accommodation and food, but they've actually provided a facility for them when they enter married life. So then they feel very much connected to the temple. They don't feel disenfranchised, but they've been used and abused for 10 years, and then all their youthful energy has been taken, and then they've just been left, and no one cares about them. But they actually realise, look, the temple has provided this for me. Now I can enter my Grihastha life. I can come and do puja. I can come 2 or 3 times a week. I have a little setup. So that's one idea that one devotee had, which I think is very practical and progressive. It's not the only idea, but it's one.
Imagine that I'm approaching you now and hugging you and saying thank you for this idea, and if kiss is bona fide, so thank you so much. This is very, I like this plan. At the manor once we created a table as a table in Word, table in Word, file called Devotee Life Plan, and then we wanted to make a plan for a devotee, all the phases of his life, spiritually and materially. I mean, agreeing with him, not that we plan his life, but he also agreeing with him that, okay, now you can do this, you can do this, and how you will maintain yourself, that everything is clear. So this is social development. We didn't have this first 50 years of our movement. Now I think the time has come to do that. and to restructure the temples and restructure the whole management approach so that people are taken care of. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Jai.